The human's ship came crashing down like a falling star. Leo had been traveling alone through a distant region of space, mapping unknown planets for the Earth Union. It was supposed to be a simple mission: collect data, return home. But his ship was caught in a strange energy field near a red moon. Lights flashed, systems failed. He barely made it through the crash. When he opened his eyes, he was lying in a dry valley surrounded by sharp black rocks. His arm was hurt, and his ship was broken beyond repair. The air was breathable, but the silence around him felt heavy, like the moon itself was watching him. Leo knew he had to find shelter. Night would come fast, and with it, unknown dangers. He walked for hours through rocky paths and narrow caves until he saw something impossible: a tall structure rising from the center of a canyon. It looked like a temple made of dark silver, stone covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly. It wasn't natural, it wasn't human, and it didn't look abandoned. As he approached, the doors opened without a sound. Leo stepped inside carefully. The inside was warm and quiet, filled with soft blue lights. At the center stood a figure, tall, calm, and completely still. She wore long robes that shimmered like water. A silver mask covered her face, and her arms were folded in front of her chest. "You are not from here," the figure said in a calm, musical voice. "Yet you enter without fear." Leo straightened his back and replied, "I didn't come to steal or fight, I was just looking for help." The woman tilted her head. "Many have come before you. All wanted power or escape. You say you want help, but help must be earned." Leo frowned. "Earned? What does that mean?" She stepped forward slowly. "I am Soraya, the keeper of this place. I test those who enter. If you pass, you will live, and maybe find more than you expected. If you fail, you will not leave." Leo's heart beat faster, but he didn't run. "Then test me." Soraya nodded once. "The first trial begins now." The floor beneath him shifted. A section opened, revealing a smooth hallway lit by glowing lines. He looked back at her, but Soraya had already returned to her silent position. Leo took a deep breath and walked forward. The hallway led him to a room filled with floating cubes spinning slowly in the air. Each cube had symbols on it, and a single sentence carved into the wall: "Find the pattern, and the way will open." Leo walked around, studying the symbols. They weren't in any language he knew, but after some thinking, he noticed they followed a rhythm. Certain shapes repeated, others mirrored. It reminded him of ancient Earth puzzles. After several tries, he rearranged the floating cubes into a perfect circle. A door opened ahead. From behind him, Soraya's voice echoed softly. "One step closer, human." Leo smiled slightly, feeling something strange stir in his chest. Not just fear or hope, but curiosity. Who was this woman? What was this place? And what would come next? Leo stepped through the open door into a wide chamber. The air inside was warmer, almost like a living breath surrounded him. Strange pillars lined the walls, and in the center stood a tall mirror made of smooth black crystal. Its surface shimmered, but it didn't reflect Leo. Instead, it showed blurry images: his ship crashing, his past, and faces of people he missed back on Earth. Then the voice came again. Calm. Clear. "Second trial," said Soraya. "The mirror of memory. Face it." Leo slowly approached the mirror. As he got closer, the images sharpened. He saw his younger self standing in front of the Earth Union building, excited to explore space. He saw his father, handing him a compass for luck. Then darker memories appeared. Times he had failed, when he had let others down, and when he had chosen silence instead of standing up for someone. The mirror whispered softly, "Do you accept all parts of yourself?" Leo stared. It was hard. To look at his failures, his heart felt heavy, but he nodded. "I do," he said. "I can't change the past, but I've learned." The mirror went still. A faint chime echoed through the room. The door behind the mirror opened. He walked forward again. This time, he entered a strange circular space filled with mist. A low growl echoed through the fog. Something moved, large, heavy, and slow. Leo crouched low, his hand touching the ground for balance. From the mist came a beast. Not machine, not animal. Something in between. It had 4 legs and metal plates on its body. Its eyes were red, and it let out a deep roar as it charged. Leo dove to the side. He had no weapons, only his speed and mind. He ducked behind a stone and waited. The creature circled, hunting him. Then Leo noticed something. It wasn't trying to kill him. It was watching his movements, reacting to his fear. The more scared he got, the faster it moved. He closed his eyes, breathed deeply, calmed his thoughts. When he stepped out, calm and steady, the beast stopped, its head tilted. Leo stepped closer. Slowly, he placed his hand on the beast's head. It didn't move. The fog cleared. Soraya appeared again, standing at the edge of the room. Her masked face stared at him in silence. "That was not a creature of violence," she said. "It reflects your fear. You controlled it, not with strength, but with courage." Leo nodded. "Fear is natural, but it shouldn't control me." Soraya raised her hand and a stone platform lifted from the ground. On it was a small container glowing with soft blue light. "Take it," she said. Leo picked it up. It was warm to the touch. The light inside pulsed like a heartbeat. "What is this?" he asked. "A key," Soraya answered. "To the final door." Leo followed her silently as they walked down another corridor. The walls were smoother now, the symbols glowing brighter. They came to a door shaped like a star with a round slot in the middle. He placed the container inside. The door opened slowly, revealing a dark chamber ahead. Soraya stopped at the entrance. 3 trials, she said. You pass them with heart, not just mind. Now comes the final choice. After this, you will not be the same. Leo looked at her, unsure of what she meant. But something inside him whispered, "Go forward." He stepped into the darkness. The dark chamber was cold and silent. Leo stepped carefully, each footstep echoing in the space. The walls were smooth and dark, almost like glass, and the air felt heavier here. He sensed this was the final trial Soraya had warned him about. Soft light appeared ahead. In the center of the room stood a floating crystal table. On it rested a silver device shaped like a cube with glowing lines running across it. It looked advanced, far beyond human technology. As he approached, a calm voice spoke again, but it was no longer Soraya's. It sounded mechanical and ancient. "Human, this is your reward. Take it. It will repair your ship and give you great power. It will make you a leader among your kind. All this can be yours." Leo froze. The cube pulsed as if calling to him, but something didn't feel right. He looked around and noticed something else. In the corner of the room, half buried under fallen debris, was a cracked orb. Inside was a small flickering light, weak, but still alive. Carved below it were the words, "To protect is to sacrifice." Leo turned back to the cube. It was beautiful, perfect, tempting. He knew that if he took it, he would return home as a hero. But that weak light, was that what this test was really about? He stepped away from the cube and walked toward the orb. As he touched it, the voice returned, this time louder, more urgent. "That is useless. Take the cube. Leave this place. You deserve it." Leo shook his head. "No. This isn't about what I deserve. It's about what's right." He lifted the cracked orb. It was warm and the light inside grew brighter. Suddenly the walls around him began to glow. The room trembled and the cube vanished into thin air. Soraya appeared once again, standing tall at the edge of the light. She looked at Leo, then at the orb in his hands. "You chose the fading light over power," she said softly. Leo nodded. "Power without purpose means nothing." She stepped forward. "Most fail this test. They take the cube. They never ask what the orb is. But you saw what mattered." The orb floated from his hands and hovered in the air. It shone brighter and brighter, lighting the entire room. Then it slowly faded into the ceiling, and a circular doorway appeared behind it. marked with glowing symbols that now matched the ones on Leo's skin. He looked down, surprised. Light lines were softly drawn across his arms. Temporary, but meaningful. "What is this?" he asked. Soraya's voice was calm. "You've passed all 3 trials. You faced your past, your fear, and your desire. Now you are ready to see the truth." Leo took a step back. "What truth?" Soraya's mask shimmered. For the first time, she raised her hand to her face. "I wore this mask so your eyes would not judge me," she said. "But now you have earned the right to witness who I truly am." She pulled the mask away. And then everything changed. Her body began to glow, not in a harmful way, but with ancient energy, like a star gently awakening. Leo could only watch, breath held, as the transformation began. Leo stood frozen, eyes wide, as Soraya lifted her mask. For a moment, all he saw was her face, calm, beautiful, and strangely human-like. Her skin was a soft shade of silver blue, her eyes deep and shining like distant galaxies. But then, something greater began to unfold. Her entire body shimmered and a bright light surrounded her, growing with every heartbeat. The room pulsed with silent energy. Her robes floated as if lifted by an invisible wind, and lines of ancient symbols began to move across her skin like living language. Her form became taller, her hair longer and filled with strands of light. Her voice echoed, layered with tones that sounded like music and thunder together. "I am not what I seemed," she said. "This form is the guardian of the Star Temple, born from the oldest race in this galaxy. I watched over knowledge too powerful to be trusted easily. Many came seeking it. None proved worthy, until you." Leo didn't speak. He could only watch. Soraya now stood as something beyond what human eyes were used to. She was no longer just a woman in a mask. She was part of the stars, part of the history of the universe itself. Yet, despite her great form, her eyes still held kindness. She didn't look at him with pride or power. She looked at him with respect. "You did not choose power," she said. "You chose to protect. That is rare among your kind." Leo finally found his voice. "I'm just one person. I didn't do anything special." Soraya slowly walked toward him, her feet not even touching the ground. "That is why you are special. You chose not for gain, but for good. That is what we were searching for." The chamber shifted again. The walls opened to show floating platforms, each holding strange glowing items, books, crystals, and star maps. Leo turned slowly, realizing what he was seeing. "This is knowledge," he whispered. "Yes," Soraya replied. "Knowledge from races that vanished long ago. Technologies that could build or destroy planets. History that even the stars forgot. We saved it here, hidden from greedy hands. But now, it must be shared again." Carefully, she raised her hand and a small crystal floated to Leo. It landed gently in his palm. "This holds a piece of what we guarded. A beginning." Leo looked at it. It was small, but he could feel its weight, like it carried centuries inside. "Why me?" he asked quietly. Soraya smiled. "Because you were honest when no one was watching, brave when fear surrounded you, and humble when offered everything." She turned and pointed toward a rising platform. "Now, the way forward is open. You may leave if you wish, or you may stay and learn more. But know this, your choice has already changed something in the stars." Leo stepped forward. He looked once more at Soraya, now glowing softly, her form still beyond understanding but peaceful. "I'll share what I've learned," he said, "but I want to learn more first." She nodded. "Then follow me, and I will show you what lies beyond this moon." They walked side by side, human and ancient guardian, as the temple rose higher, revealing a sky full of stars and secrets waiting to be uncovered. The sky above the temple opened like a curtain, showing a galaxy more beautiful than Leo had ever seen. Stars shined in every direction. Some moved, some pulsed. It felt alive. Soraya stood beside him, still in her true form, tall, glowing, and peaceful. The ground beneath them had become a transparent platform floating in the air. Below, the moon's surface shimmered with energy, and the temple itself looked like it had awakened after sleeping for 1,000 years. Leo held the crystal tightly in his hand. He could feel it humming. "Where are we going?" he asked. Soraya looked at the stars. "Not far, just higher, so you can see the truth." They floated upward faster than any ship could move, yet the wind did not touch them. Then they reached a space above the clouds. Around them, large structures appeared like massive floating rings. Inside each ring were images, like windows into other times and places. Soraya pointed at the first one. Long ago, a powerful race ruled this part of the galaxy. They called themselves the Althari. They had great knowledge but lost their way. They wanted control, not balance. Leo watched the ring show images of cities burning in space, machines turning on their creators, and stars vanishing. "They destroyed themselves," Soraya said quietly, "and almost everything with them." Another ring lit up. This one showed peaceful cities, green worlds, and people, different species, working together. These were the ones who tried to fix what the Althari broke. They built temples like mine. They saved what they could and hid it. Then they vanished too. Leo turned to her. "And you were left to protect it all?" Soraya nodded. "Yes, I was created to guard knowledge, test those who came, and choose who could carry it forward." She walked to another glowing window. This time, Leo saw something familiar. Earth. It was spinning quietly in space, blue and green, just as he remembered. But around it he noticed other things, ships, satellites, and a growing network of energy. "Your people are advancing quickly," she said. "But they are at a crossroads. If the wrong hands take power, your future could become like the Althari." Leo felt a chill. He had seen greed and war back home. He had seen people wanting more without thinking of the cost. "But humans also have hope," she continued. "You proved that today, and that means Earth might still choose the right path." He looked down at the crystal again. "So what am I supposed to do with this?" "It is a key," she replied. "It holds maps to other temples, pieces of knowledge, and messages from those who came before. But it cannot be forced. You must choose who sees it, and when." Leo nodded slowly. The weight of it all felt real now. Not just the gift, but the responsibility. Soraya placed her hand on his shoulder gently. "I will guide you, but I will not speak for you. Earth must listen to you, not me." Leo looked at her, this ancient being of light who once hid behind a mask, and felt both fear and courage rise inside him. "Then let's go," he said. "Let's bring this home the right way." Soraya smiled. "The stars will be watching." Together, they began their descent as the rings around them faded, and Earth's future waited silently below. The journey back to Earth was quiet but filled with thoughts. Leo sat inside a strange ship that Soraya had called a light vessel. It didn't look like any human technology. It had no engines, no screens, no control panels. It floated through space like a silent bubble of energy, moving faster than the human mind could understand. Soraya stood at the front, looking out into the stars. Her body no longer glowed as brightly. She had changed back into her masked form to avoid drawing attention from others once they arrived. "Are you afraid?" she asked gently. Leo nodded. "Yes, I don't know how the world will react." "You don't need to know," Soraya replied. "You only need to speak the truth." Leo held the crystal tightly. In his hands, it was still pulsing, steady and calm. The knowledge inside could change everything. Cure diseases, end wars, build clean energy. But it could also be used to control, destroy, and divide. That's what scared him most. The ship entered Earth's orbit, cloaked by Soraya's power. They landed in a quiet forest outside one of Earth Union's research stations. Leo stepped out first, breathing Earth's air again after weeks in deep space. It smelled real, like soil, leaves, and life. Soraya followed, her steps quiet, her presence strong. Together they approached the station. Inside, the humans were shocked. They had lost contact with Leo's ship long ago. Most believed he was dead. But when they saw him walk in, calm, unharmed, and carrying a glowing crystal, they froze. Behind him, Soraya entered, still masked. Her silver robe flowed like windless water. Everyone stared. "I need to speak to the leaders," Leo said firmly. Alone. They listened. Something about his voice had changed. It was steady, powerful, but not demanding. It was the voice of someone who had seen something greater. In the meeting room, Leo placed the crystal on the table. "This is not a weapon," he began. "It's not magic or alien treasure. It's knowledge, but it must be used wisely." He told them everything. The trials, the beast, the temptation, the final choice, and Soraya's true form. He didn't hide anything. The leaders listened, some with curiosity, others with fear. "Why should we believe you?" one asked. Leo pointed at Soraya. "Because she's here. She chose me, not as a soldier or a scientist, but as a human who made the right choices." The crystal floated gently, opening to reveal star maps and codes the humans couldn't understand yet. Soraya stepped forward and finally removed her mask. Gasps filled the room. Her face, peaceful and full of light, looked at them with no anger or pride, only calm. One of the scientists whispered, "She's not just an alien. She's something ancient." Leo nodded. "She trusted me. Now I'm trusting all of you." "Don't make me regret it." The room fell silent. Then the oldest leader stood up. He walked over to the crystal and placed his hand near it, not touching it. He looked at Leo. "We'll study it. Carefully. And with your help." Leo exhaled deeply. As they left the room, Soraya looked at him with quiet pride. "You chose to share it, even when you didn't have to." He smiled. "What's the point of knowledge if you hide it forever?" She nodded. "Then your journey is just beginning." Above them, in the sky, a light blinked. One of the ancient temples had awakened. Others had noticed, and not all were friendly. Days passed, then weeks. The world slowly began to learn what had happened. At first, many didn't believe Leo's story. A lost explorer returning with ancient alien knowledge and a being like Soraya sounded like a tale from a book. But the crystal proved otherwise. It unlocked small pieces of technology, clean energy, healing systems, and star charts no one had ever seen. Governments argued. Some wanted to use the knowledge for weapons. Others wanted to hide it. But Leo stood firm. He reminded them that knowledge without wisdom leads to ruin, just like the Althari who destroyed themselves. Soraya stayed close but didn't speak often. She watched the humans quietly, learning from them and teaching only when needed. One evening, as the sun set over the green hills, Leo stood alone at the edge of the research base. He looked at the stars, thinking about everything that had happened. The crash, the tests, Soraya's transformation, and the crystal now locked away in a special vault. He heard soft footsteps behind him. "You're thinking again," Soraya said, her voice gentle. "Always," he replied with a small smile. "I wonder if we're truly ready." "No one is ever fully ready," she said. "But the first step matters most, and you've taken it." Leo nodded. "Is that why you chose me?" "I didn't choose you. You chose yourself, when you refused power, faced your fear, and stood for what was right without knowing anyone was watching." He turned to her. "Will others come now?" She looked up. "Yes. The signal was sent when you passed the final trial. The other temples across the galaxy have awakened. Some will send guardians like me. Others will send something else." Leo's face grew serious. "Enemies?" "Perhaps," she answered. "Not all who seek knowledge do so with pure hearts." He looked back at the stars. "Then we need to be ready." Soraya stepped beside him. "That's why we must go. There are more temples to visit, more pieces to gather. If we don't act first, others will." Leo felt the weight of those words. The adventure wasn't over. In fact, it was just beginning. "I'll come," he said, "but only if you're with me." She smiled. "I was waiting for you to ask." The next day, the Earth Union agreed to allow Leo and Soraya to travel beyond known space. They gave him a small ship, equipped with basic systems, but the real power came from Soraya herself. With her help, the ship could move through star paths hidden from ordinary view. As they prepared to leave, crowds gathered to see them off. Some cheered, others watched in silence, and some still feared what they didn't understand. Leo stepped onto the ramp of the ship and turned to face them one last time. "We're not leaving Earth behind," he said. "We're carrying its best hope forward. What we bring back depends on what we become." Then he entered the ship. Inside, Soraya stood at the center, her hands touching a glowing control sphere. "Coordinates set," she said. "First stop, Temple of the Wind Moons." Leo sat beside her. "Let's find out what secrets are waiting." The ship lifted gently, then soared into the sky. As it left Earth's orbit, a soft glow lit the path ahead, like the stars themselves had opened a doorway just for them. And far in the distance, something ancient stirred in response. The journey had only just begun.